Hey everybody, welcome to Pure Snowrunner. Welcome back if you're a repeat offender. My dude's sleeping over here. Good day to take a nap. It's raining, all that good stuff. So on today's episode, I am going to do. Normally I do these in order, but because my stuff is all on this side of the map over here, I'm going to do this one because I'm going right there. You know, it just makes sense. It's not that far. So we're going to activate that. And then we're going to go switch trucks here. And I did, on the previous episode, if you didn't see it, but I did delete a bunch of vehicles. So, we're going to turn around here. I'm going to go back down the side of the mountain. Provided I can get around the vehicles here, around the house. Let's go this way. I'm gonna grab this one right away. We need wooden planks. The parking brake off. Now the wooden planks, I can pick up a couple of those because they're right here. I don't necessarily have to run all to get all four from. Okay, we go. Oh, hook it to the truck there. Oh, hook it to the truck. There we go. There's logs or planks on the way. Essentially to the log station, I think. So I can get two of those. I still have to go over to the sawmill and grab two of the ones that I had created on the last video. But I only have to grab two, and this isn't out of the way. So, yes, if you're new to the channel is all Snowrunner, hence the name Pure Snowrunner. I think I gotta let him go that way, because I gotta come around. Well, no, we can go. So we're gonna go this way. We're not using that log station this time. I'm actually gonna use this log station this time. The one I passed up on the previous video because I said I'd be using it later. I'm going to need to use it on this one. So. And then there was wooden planks on the way there too, so I'll break away with the back vehicle and I have to make a run back. I got to get two long logs to the house in the north. Where's the north? See, this is where it got me last time. The house in the north is way up here. It says, now if you look at the thing, it says delivered to the house in the south. One medium plank and one medium log and 4 planks. And that's the one that's down along the river down there, where the BM-17 was previously parked. And then 2 long logs to the house in the north. So we're going to have to make 2 trips across. So we'll grab logs from our favorite log station. Yours and mine, to fulfill their needs. If you don't have any questions or comments, feel free to drop down below. If you're wondering what I use for vehicles, these are modded vehicles. I whisper strong way. They're all Vorandis. Voron D53233 JBE edition in the upper left hand corner. So I use them all. I use them for logging. I use them for high Saddle high trucks, saddle low trucks, heavy haulers, whatever. I use them for everything. Except for scout vehicles. Not that I haven't used it as a scout vehicle, but I use the, what is the 1800, something 1800. I don't have one on the map anymore. It's in my, whatchamacallit. Alright, one of these has to let me go. This one right there. So, right up here, by this little marker, we're going to let the guy behind me go. And we'll come back to him. You wait right there, and we'll be back for you. Alright, let's go get some Lincoln logs. Let's go get some. Y'all remember Lincoln logs? I think they still make them. They're like retro. We never had, as a kid, we never had Lincoln logs. I grew up pretty poor. We didn't have Tinker toys. I don't know if you remember Tinker toys. We didn't have Tinker toys. We didn't have Legos. We didn't have any of that stuff. I had friends that did, and it was awesome. That's about the only thing I could afford is friends, you know. But unfortunately, I grew up pretty poor where I didn't get a lot of. There were Christmases where we didn't get anything. Anything, nothing. Like, we just don't have it in our budget this year. Okay. And we got so used to it, it was like, you know, we're lucky to have food on the table. You know, so I vowed. I used that experience, life experience, to make sure it didn't happen to me and my kids. You know what I mean? I made sure that I was always employed and had a roof over my head. And, well, you know, having a job helps, you know. It does pay the bills. Ooh, no. Okay, now we'll leave this one here for now because I might need it to go to a different spot. So we're going to go grab the other truck. Not you. Not you. You. And, oh, we got to turn left. I got to make it daytime, don't I? Back up. But yeah, I use it as a driving force for my life. It's like, this isn't going to happen to me. This is not going to happen to me. I'm not going to live like this when I get older. And I, up to this point, knock on wood, I haven't had to live like that. My kids got, you know, we just, I get it, there is a Santa Claus. But we had the kids make out lists. It's like, because you'd rather have them get something they're going to use. And, you know, it's like, make a list of a certain amount of things, and we'll pick from those things and get you something on that list, you know. Or a couple things, depending upon, because we had a budget on how much we were going to spend per kid. So you're not just going to go hog wild and max out the credit cards every year. It's not going to happen. But as far as I know, they were pretty happy every year for Christmas. So and still are to this day, you know. We're going to go back down along the river again. I'll probably get my thumbnail from the, because I have to get a thumbnail, from the Long Logs area. That's, I'm going to show you when we get, I don't need to go here. What are you doing? That's another thing is when I get to the long log part, It's like a pucker factor. If you don't know what the pucker factor is, it's essentially a tightening of the sphincter muscles when you're about to crash or you're about to do something that's gonna. It's like So that particular route that is it getting daytime or what? I think so. That particular route that I have to take, or there's another way to go, but is a pucker factor of about an 8.5. It's not a straight up 10, but it's getting there. And hopefully I'll be able to show you. It worked both times because I had to make 2 trips. It worked both times with the on my last, when I did it on my other account. Alright, why are you here? Oh, I need 2 more. We need to go get 2 more planks. What am I doing here? Back up. There is a bridge over here. So we're headed to that. We gotta get 2 more planks. As you see, there's a little, you know what? I might use this bridge as a thumbnail. Rickety ass thing. But you know what? It's a bridge. It's a bridge across that. And I don't know how deep it is, but they put a bridge there, so it's gotta be kind of deep. She rickety though. Boy, oh boy, is she rickety. Crooked as a witch's finger too. But you can get up over top of this thing, so a little high. It'll get me to the sawmill. That might be a good thumbnail. The Big Trees to Small Homes is the name of this one. Alright. But yeah. Like I said, we never had a lot of toys. The ones we did get, which was rare, we played the crap out of them. Played, you know, there wasn't much left of these toys one by the time we were done playing with them. Not that we broke them, but we had them for so long. You know. Back when I was a kid, younger, let's see, like video games. I had friends that had like Atari and stuff like that. And once I became of a certain age, and I had a paper out, you know, because I was wanting money right off the bat, you know. So I got a paper out, delivered newspapers, and made some money, and bought myself an Atari and a little black and white TV. I think at one time or another, everybody in my that's around my age has had a 13-inch or a 12-inch black and white TV in their bedroom, because they weren't that expensive, and had a set of rabbit ears on it. You could watch TV, but again, black and white, not color. And we played video games on it. All right, we need 2 planks. But you could hook your Nintendo up to it. You could hook your Atari up to it. When Nintendo came out, I saved up money for when that happened. I had a Nintendo, the original NES system. Man, played even Pac-Man and stuff like that on Atari. I played so much on that. But Nintendo was the game system, in my opinion. I love Mario Brothers and stuff. And then gradually working up to the other systems, you know, the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, all those. I like Super Nintendo better than Nintendo 64. I didn't care for the controllers on Nintendo 64. And then the GameCube. That was alright. And by the time GameCube came out, I was an adult. The original PlayStation 1. I had it ready by that time. I had boxed up all of my stuff. By the time PlayStation 1 came out, I was at least 5 years of not playing any games. I'm going to get a quick thumbnail on this bridge. That's a good picture. At least 5 years of not playing any games. And yeah, all my systems were boxed up. I still had them all. Oh, wrong one. Wrong button. I hit the wrong button. I need to save a thumbnail or make a thumbnail. There we go. New. And save. And make it that. Big tree. Yeah. Save. Yeah. So when PlayStation 1 came out, and they were hard to find, um, 2 was harder, but PlayStation 1 was hard to find, at least where I live. And I forget, I spent like $300 on a PlayStation 1, which is insane for somebody who hadn't played video games in, at least 5 years. Might have been more than that. Probably closer to 10. Trying to think when PlayStation 1 came out. I'm not going to look it up. It had to have been in the 90s. I would say 95, 96, maybe. I'm guessing. It's in that time frame. 95, 96. I don't even need this. What am I driving this for? Alright, not you. Not you. You're the one. Alright, so I have to go to the house in the north. So I'm just going to recover this out of here. Detach. Delete the trailer. Cover. Leave. Because of the route, I am literally going to do this twice. Because hauling and pulling another truck is not an option in this route. Literally one at a time is even that sketchy. When I get logs, I will explain the routes. But, yeah, back to video games. I mean, so I had, at that time, in a box, or a couple boxes, I had an Atari, I had a Sega Genesis, I had a regular Sega, I had a Nintendo, I had a, did I say Atari? So I'm trying to go back through it from the beginning. It's Atari, Sega Genesis, Intellivision 2, not an Intellivision 1, Intellivision 2, which had one of my favorite games, Burger Time, at the time, and it doesn't hold up. Not, I went back and I don't have that system anymore, but I went back and played Burger Time, and it's like, I can't believe I played this. But anyway, and I had a lot of games. Atari, I probably had 100 games for Atari. And cartridges. Nowadays that stuff's probably worth something. None of the boxes. I didn't have any of that stuff anymore, but it might be worth something. Some of those old systems, they all still worked. I wish I would have kept my original Nintendo. Again, all of these systems I bought myself with my own money by working. Side jobs, farm hand, help, paper route, you name it. Anything I could do to make money, legally, of course, I was doing it. Alright, So I'm going to explain this once I get down here and get loaded up. This one can get you. This one can get you if you decide to go one way versus another. Alright, so we are here. Turned around, but we are here. We can go this way, across this rickety bridge, across here, across here. We're going to do it this way. I just turn the camera around. And then down through, oh, across this. Through here, across this, to there. Looks simple enough, right? This is a sketch. This is super sketch. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Or you could go down and then crawl up the crack right here. I don't like this crack. So we're going to use the other route. Gotta get turned around here. Then we gotta do it twice because we need 2 sets of logs. So not only do we gotta get lucky once, we gotta get lucky twice. Shove it into low high and go. But yeah, all those systems. And then I hadn't been playing these things forever. You know, I tried to revisit a couple of them, and it's just like, meh. I can't do it anymore. You know, the nostalgia part wore off for me. You know, the stuff was just sitting in boxes. And I was talking to a waitress at a truck stop. I was having coffee. No, I wasn't a trucker. I was just stopping there because they had good food. And she was saying that her kids never had any video games because they didn't have a lot of money. I said, well, I got a whole crap ton of video games. Everything still works. Controllers are all still okay. And all you gotta do is plug them in. And I said, I'll sell you a bundle. You know, you can buy the whole kit and caboodle if you give me this much money. She's like, for all of it? I'm like, yep. And I think, no joke, I think I sold the whole thing. All the systems and all the games for like $100. Granted, $100 then was probably $200 now. But yeah, this is where it gets to be sketch, because we have to go up and over to this bridge. So you got to go up, and you know how it is to go up because your vehicle doesn't want to turn and go up. It wants to tip over like that. See, and that's a bad idea. I shouldn't have stopped. That's what I shouldn't have done. Because once I stopped, I just screwed myself. Now I can't get these logs back on. There's no way. They're already popped out. So we are going to detach, delete. I'm going to build a bridge with all these broken logs down here. Again, pucker factor. And I shouldn't have stopped. Again, where I stopped was bad. I should have just kept going. I still am on a time constraint because it is morning. It is the same day that I recorded the previous video on. And I'm like, I got time. Now my time is running out. I got a haul butt. So bear with me. I ain't got time for that. Just break all the suspension on the truck. Who cares? Just drive. But anyway, I sold everything. And she was happy. And I talked to her for the next probably couple months. And then she quit that job or whatever and moved on to something better than a waitress. But all the way up, she's like, them kids love that stuff. I'm like, well, that's awesome. I was waiting for her to say, well, we had to sell it to pay our electric bill and whatever, because they didn't have money. But I know what it's like to not have money as a kid and not to have things as a kid. So I felt, and it made me feel good about giving it away, basically. Because that stuff was worth way more than that, even in that time frame. it was worth more than what I sold it for sure. I mean, if you would have $1 for each Atari game would have been $100, and I sold all the systems and everything for $100. But again, it had dust on it. It wasn't being used. It still worked again, but all those old 8-bit graphics games. And then, like again, the PS1 came out. And I bought one of those, and I'm like, holy crap! It's almost real. Look how good the graphics are. Look how good the graphics are. And then, I mean, I was playing Tomb Raider, and between Tomb Raider and the very first Tomb Raider, of course, and Resident Evil, the first one, I think it was what it was, the original, where you start out in a mansion. I played the crap out of those two games. But the funny thing is, when I first bought the system, because I was so used to games that, or game systems that stored your stuff, like internally. Well, PlayStation was one of the first ones that came out with that memory card, so you had to get a memory card in order to save your progress or whatever. And of course, you get the cheap ones for like 8 megabytes or whatever. It's crazy. The small 8 megabytes, then you could go up from there. But the little gray memory cards, I had like a bunch of those things, and I had them labeled, certain games or whatever. Because you can only fit so much on a memory card. Then you would have to go through and readjust your memory card and take games out. And it's like, oh man, I got this game, and I gotta, it just sucked back then when you had to delete your progress on a certain game. Like, well, I haven't played this in a while. I guess I could delete it. And then you'd forget that you deleted it, and you go back and be like, oh, where'd my game go? I'm like, oh, that's right, I freaking deleted it. It sucked. But it was what it was. But I played. My point was, I got to God of War, or not God of War. I wish. I got to. See, if I'd have just kept going, I would have made it up there. But this is like a pucker factor, because everything leans to the right, and you got to kind of just go. you can't be hesitant. You just got to go, and that's why it rolled over, because momentum was not on my side. Gravity wasn't either, apparently, but I got so good at Tomb Raider 1 and that Resident Evil that I could beat the game without saving it on both of them. I could beat the game, which is crazy, because you play Resident Evil or even Tomb Raider, play Tomb Raider 1 all straight through without being able to save the game, because you don't have a memory card. You just keep going past the little blue diamonds that you had to go through on Tomb Raider to save. Keep on going and hope you don't die. And I could play that whole game from beginning to end without dying. Because if you died, you had to start all the way over again. I mean, again, I didn't, every single time I play, I didn't do it, but I was able to do it. And then finally I bought it memory cards, I forget how much they cost, but I'm not a rich person. Still not a rich person. But I played the crap out of that PS1. And then, of course, graduated up to the other systems, PS2, PS3. I was never an Xbox fan. And I'm sorry for those that are. No, I'm not sorry. You do with where your friends are, in my opinion, right? So if your friends have Xboxes and all that stuff, so that's what you're gonna go to their house and you're gonna play games and you're gonna, share games with each other. It's like, oh, you got this, I'll let you borrow this if you want this, and you know what I mean. So you just do it that way. But and then it became online stuff like, PS3. I think some PS2 games, not many, were online capable, but it wasn't like PS3. Call of Duty and stuff like that came out, and then it was like, you want to be with your friends, so you all have the same system, so that you can, get into party chats and talk and whatever. That's when it became like, wow, you got to do it this way. All right, detach, delete, and cover, leave. We gotta go get the trailer again. Do that one more time. I'm gonna bust through these things. All right, let's go. It's just the way it, and then from then on, that's how it is. In my opinion. I do have friends that have Xboxes, but I'm not buying an Xbox. There aren't enough games on there that I'd want to play. That's what it comes down to. To waste my money on another system, and I don't have the room for it. To have it all hooked up and all that. And I hate the Xbox controllers with a passion. I don't like the way they... The only thing I use an Xbox controller for, I do have one, is to play my American Truck Simulator or my European Truck Simulator 2 game on my PC. That's it. I don't have anything else, and even then I don't like it, but I use it because I don't have a steering wheel and all that stuff. Not yet, anyway. Maybe eventually I will. If I have this computer that I currently have rebuilt down the line. But like racing cockpits and stuff like that, I'd have to buy another monitor. Or at least a TV to play on. And TVs are cheap. TVs are a dime a dozen. Get a 50-inch TV or 57-inch TV, 4K. Use that as essentially a computer monitor. Just hook it up HDMI, it'd be good enough. For what I'd want to use it for, which would strictly be playing like American Truck Simulator and European Truck Simulator. We're going to try to get across that field of death again. One more time. I got a nose itch and I hate that when I'm trying to drive. IRL and in a video game. But we're doing alright. Pending any issues, we should be able to get done here shortly. And I still have time to catch some breakfast. So this will be my last recording for the day. For sure. I don't hardly play after work because of my time. By the time you guys see this, though, this is being recorded at the end of, the 21st of August yet. You guys won't see this until October. So by October, actual date, but again, by the time you all see this, I will be on different hours because I got my position at my other job. I applied for a different position, and I will be in that position by the time this releases, or gets viewable or whatever. Published. Yeah. Alright, now let's see if we can get up this hill. Please let it happen. Up the hill. 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 Yeah, so my hours will be different. It'll be 6 to 2. 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So then I might have more time in the afternoons. I won't be able to record in the morning before work. Around the time that this is being released, which will be October. So anything after the end of this month, which current month for me is going to be August. September 1st, I switch roles at the company, and then I switch hours, all that stuff. I still get the same amount of hours. It's just the time start. Like currently, I work 8:30 to 4:30. Not bad hours. 8:30 a.m. 4:30 p.m. New job, new position. It'll be 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So I get done early every day. I consider it early. I like getting up early. So some people aren't morning people. I am one of those that is. But you couldn't tell by the yawning, but I am a morning person. Because I'd rather, even on my days off, I get up early. I get up by 6 o'clock, sometimes 5 o'clock. On my days off, and I'm up for the day. I don't sleep in. My brain is like, wake up, you got stuff to do. We can't be sleeping all day. Even if I try to sleep in, it just doesn't work. I think the latest I sleep in is maybe 7. Maybe 7. For the most part, it's 6 on a weekend. Sometimes 5. Or last weekend, I think it was like 4. Recorded 4 in the morning. 3:45, wide awake. Not going back to sleep, so I might as well get up. And then, of course, about 4 in the afternoon, I'm like dragging ass. Hey, I forgot to delete that trailer. Alright, so we got our long logs completed. Mission complete. Excuse me. Attach. And recover. And leave. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know what the next missions are, so I'll just leave this truck here, get a log thing on the back of it. And that'll be it. I want to thank everybody for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to smash that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them down below. Check out the links down below. Link to my Twitch channel and tip jar, if you want to call it that. And for fan mail and stuff like that. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.